Welcome all. Rich dad, poor dad. What the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and middle class don't. Robert Kiyosaki. Rich dad, poor dad is a starting point for everyone looking to gain control of the financial future. USA Today. That was written by USA Today. Okay. There are 253 pages. I'll read all these pages. Rich dad, poor dad. What the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and middle class do not. Already I told it. Okay. Let's start. Acknowledgements. Acknowledgement of the book. Okay. How does a person say thank you when there are so many people to thank? Obviously, this book is a thank you to my two fathers who were powerful role models, and to my mom who taught me love and kindness. The person most responsible for this book becoming a reality is my wife, Kim, my partner in marriage, business, and in life. She makes my life complete. Contents: Introduction, Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5, Chapter 6, Chapter 7, Chapter 8. There are 9 chapters and final thoughts also. Introduction is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Lesson 1. The rich don't work for money. 2. Why teach financially literacy? 3. Mind your own business. 4. The history of taxes and the power of corporation. 5. The rich invest money. 6. Work to learn, don't work for money. 7. Overcoming obstacles. 8. Getting started. 9. Still want more. Here are some to do's. Okay. Introduction. Rich dad, poor dad. Having two dads offered me two choice of constructing points of view. One a rich man and one of a poor man. This book is useful for viewers, so don't skip and understand what I am read. Okay. I had two fathers, a rich one and poor one. One was highly educated and intelligent. He had a PhD and completed 4 years of undergraduate work in less than 2 years. He then went on to Stanford University, the University of Chicago, and Northwestern University to do his advanced studies. All of full financial scholarships. The other father never finished the 8th grade. One father is PhD. One father finished PhD, and another father is just 8th grade. You know, 8th grade is they maybe at 14 age. Okay. Both men were successful in their careers, working hard all their lives. Both earned substantial incomes. Yet one always struggled financially. The other would become one of the richest men in Hawaii. See, both earned substantial incomes, yet one always struggled financially. The other would become one of the richest men in Hawaii. One died, leaving tens of millions of dollars to his family, charities, and his friends. and in such. The other left bills to pay paid. Both men were strong, charismatic, and influential. Both men offered me advice, but they did not advise the same things. Both men believed strongly in education, but did not recommend the same course of study. If I had only one dad, I would have had to accept or reject this advice. Having two hats offered me two choice of constructing points of view, one rich man and one poor man. Instead of simply accepting or rejecting one or the other, I found myself thinking more, comparing, and then choosing for my life. Okay, completed one pages. Choosing for my life. The problem was that the rich man was not rich yet, and the poor man was not yet poor. Both were just starting out on the careers and both struggling with money and families, but they had very different points of views about money. For example, for example, one dad would say the love of money is the root of all evil. The other said the lack of money is the root of all evil. A young boy, as a young boy, having two strong fathers, both influencing me was difficult. I wanted to be a good son and listening, but the two fathers did not say the same things. The contrast in their points of view, particularly about money, was so extreme that I grew curious and intrigued. I began to start thinking for long periods of time and what each was saying. Much of my private time was spent reflecting, asking myself questions such as why does he say that, and asking the same question of the other's dad's statement. It would have been much easier to simply say, yeah, he's right, I agree with that, or to simply reject the point of view by saying the old man does not know what he is talking about. Instead, having two dads whom I love talking about. Instead, having two dads whom I loved forced me to think and ultimately choose a way of thinking for myself. As a process, choosing for myself turned out to be much more valuable in the long run than simply accepting or rejecting a simple point of view. One of the reason the rich get richer. One of the reason the rich get richer. One of the reason the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Okay, and the middle class struggles in debt. In the subject of money is not at home. Not at home. Not in school. Most of us learn about money from our parents. So what can poor parents tell their child about money? They simply say, listen. So what can poor parents tell their so what their poor parent tell their child about money? They simply say stay in school. They simply say stay in school and study hard. The child may graduate with excellent grades, but with a poor personal financial programming and mindsets. It's real. Sadly, sadly, money is not taught in school. School focus on scholastic and professional skills, but not on financial skills. This explains how smart bankers, doctors, and accountants who earned excellent grades may struggle financially all of their lives. Our strategy national debt is due in large part to highly educated politicians and government officials making financial decisions with little or no training in the subject of money. Today, I often wonder what will soon happen when we have millions of people who need financial and medical assistance. They will be dependent upon their families or the government for financial support. For financial support. What will happen when Medicare and Social Security run out of money? How will a nation survive? How will a nation survive if teaching children about money continues to be left to parents? Most of oh, most of wait guys, might be struggle. Whatever I leave in financial. What will happen when Medicare and Social Security run out of money? How will nation survive its teaching children about money continues to be left to parents, most of whom will be are already at poor. Because I have two influential father, I learned from both of them. I had to think about each dad's advice, and in doing so, I gained valuable insight into the power and effect of one's thoughts on one's life. On one's life. Background is over nice. So, for example, one dad had a habit of saying, I can afford it. The other dad forbade those words to be used. Instead, I asked, how can I afford it? One is a statement. Pinned this button. One is a statement, and another, uh, where is that? And another is a question. How can I afford it? One is a statement, and another is a question. One lets you off the hook, and the other forces you to think. My soon to be rich. Dad would explain, my soon to be rich. Dad would explain that by automatically saying the words, I can afford it. How your brain stops working by asking the questions, how can I afford it? Your brain is put to work. He did not mean that you should buy everything. He did he did not he did not mean that you should no no he did not mean that you should buy everything you want. He want fanatical about exercising your mind, the most powerful computer in the world. He would say, my brain get stronger every day because I exercise it. The stronger it get, the more money I can make. He believed that automatically saying I can't afford it was a sign of mental laziness. Although both dads worked hard, I noticed that one dad had a habit of putting his brain to sleep when it came to finance, and the other had a habit of exercising his brain. The long after term result was that one dad grew stronger financially and the other grew weaker. It is not much different from a person who goes to the gym to exercise on a regular basis versus someone who sits on the couch watching television. Watching television. Proper physical exercise increase your chances of our health. Chances, yeah, you understand. Chances, chances for health and proper mental exercise. Proper mental exercise increase your chances for wealth. Who note this? Prop Proper physical exercise increase proper physical exercise increase your chances for wealth health. Okay, and proper mental exercise increase your chances for wealth. Okay, my two dads had opposing attitudes, and that affected the way they thought. One dad thought that rich my two dads had opposing attitudes, and that affected the way they thought. One dad thought that the rich should pay more in taxes to take care of those less fortunate. The other said taxes punish those who produce and reward those who don't produce. One dad recommended study hard so you can find a good company to work for. One dad recommended study hard, study hard so you can find a good company to work for. The other recommended study hard so you can find a good company to buy. One dad buy. One dad said, the reason I am not rich is because the reason I'm not rich is because I have your kids. The other said, the reason I must be the reason I must be rich is because I have you kids. One encouraged talking about money and business at the dinner table, while the other forbade the subject of money to be discussed over a meal. Okay, over a meal. One said, when it comes to money, play it safe. Don't take risk. The other said, learn to manage risk. One believed our home is our largest investment and our greatest asset. The other believed my house is a liability, and if your house is your largest investment, you are in trouble. Both dads paid their bills on time, yet one paid his bills first, while the other paid his bills last. One dad believed in a company or the government taking care of you and your needs. He was always concerned about pay rises, retirement plans, medical benefits, sick leave, vacation days, and other perks. He was impressed with two of his uncles who joined in the military and earned a retirement and entertainment package for life. After 20 years of acting service, he loved the idea. He loved the idea of job protection for life, and job benefits seem more important at time that the job. He would often say, I have worked hard for the government and I'm entitled to these benefits. The other believed in total financial self-reliance. He spoke out against the entitlement mentality and how it created weak and financially needy people. He was empathic about being financially competent. One dad struggled to save a few dollars. One dad struggled to save few dollars. The other created investment. One dad taught me how to write an impressive resume so I could find a good job. The other taught me how to write strong business and financial plans so I could creative jobs. Being a product of two strong dads allowed me the luxury of observing the effects different thoughts have on one's life. I noticed that people really do shape their lives through their thoughts. Correct? I, people really do shape their live through their thoughts. Correct? Yes. For example, for example, my poor dad always said, for example, listen. For example, my poor dad always said, I will never be rich, and that prophecy become reality. My rich dad, on the other hand, always referred to himself as rich. He would say things like, "I am a rich man," and rich people don't don't do this, even when he was flat broke after a major financial setback. He continued to refer to himself as a rich man. He would cover himself by saying, there is a difference between being poor and being broke. Broke is temporarily, poor is eternal. My poor dad would say, I am not interested in money, or money does not matter. My rich dad always said money is power. The power of our thoughts may never be measured or appreciated, but it become obvious, to me as a young boy that it was important to be aware of my thoughts and how I express myself. I noticed that my poor dad was poor not because of the amount of money he earned, which was significant, but because of his thought and action. as a young boy having two fathers, I became actually aware of being careful about which thoughts I choose to adopt as my own. Should I listen to my rich dad or to my poor dad? There is a difference between being poor and being broke. Broke is temporary, poor is eternal. Although both men had tremendous respect for education and learning, they disagreed about what they thought was important to learn. One wanted me to study hard, earn a degree. One wanted me to study hard, earn a degree, and get a good job to earn money. He wanted me to study, become a professional, an attorney of an accountant, and go to business school for my MBA. The other encouraged me other dad encouraged me to study to be rich, to understand how money works, and to learn how to have it work for me. I don't work for money, were words he would repeat over and over. Money works for me. I don't work for money, were words he would repeat over and over. Money works for me. Okay? I don't work for money. Money works for me. Okay. At the age of 9, I decided to learn uh, from my rich dad about money. In doing so, I chose not to listen my poor dad, even though he was the one with all the college degrees. A lesson from Robert Frost. Robert Frost is my favorite poet. Although I love many of his poems, my favorite is The Road Not Taken. I use its lesson almost daily. The roads not taken. The road not taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be a one traveler long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent it in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as far and having perhaps the better climb because it was grassy and wanted earth as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads onto way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sign. Some are edges and some are hands. Two roads, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and this has made all the difference. All the difference. Wait a second. And that has made all the difference. Over the years, I have often reflected upon Robert Frosten's poem, choosing not to listen to my highly educated dad advice. And the attitude about money was a painful decision, but it was a decision that shaped the rest of my life. Once I made up my mind about whom to listen to my education, about my money burden. My rich dad taught me over a period of 30 years until I was 39 years old. He stopped. Once he realized that I knew and fully understood what he had been trying to drum into my often weak skull. Money is one form of power, but what is more powerful is financial education. Money is comes and goes, but if you have the education about how money works, you gain power over it and can begin building wealth. The reason positive think alone does not work is because most people want to school and never learned how money's work, so they spend their lives working for money. Because I was only 9 years old when I started the lessons, my rich dad thought me were simple taught me were simple, and when it was all said and done, there were only six main lessons repeated over 3 years, 30 years. And this book is about those six lessons put as simply as possible, just as simply as my rich dad put forth those lessons to me. Okay. The lessons are meant not to be answers, but a guidepost that will assist that will assist you and your children to grow wealthier, no matter what happens in a world of increasing churns and uncertainty. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. Chapter 1.